That's the irony of it all. The things that they developed back then, due to succumbing to the pressure of labor uprisings, mass instability, the labor militancy, trade unionists, anarchists throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at their workplaces and shit, gave us New Deal, gave us the New Deal democracy that we still take advantage of to this day. That's what a lot of liberals don't understand, where they're like, oh, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you guys are radicals. It's like, yeah, without radicals, you have nothing. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. There's never been a world where we've moved in the direction of progress, where we've had any sort of material benefit for the existing working class, where we've ever, like, without radicals, we would not have abolition of slavery. The fuck do you mean? You should be on your hands and knees kissing the feet of the radicals. They're the ones who are pushing the fucking boundaries. They're the ones who are progressing society. You just eat off their benefits and then you fucking hand wave them away. What gives?
Антисемитизмом называется распространение вражды к евреям. Когда проклятая царская монархия доживала свое последнее время, она старалась натравить темных рабочих и крестьян на евреев.
So anyway, Corbin Trent says that was supposed to be a never again kind of reminder, yet it seems to have failed. I don't understand people. We fairly recent history to show how this goes. First, it came for the communists and the socialists and the trade unionists. Except Trump first came for the liberals, and Hasan laughed and cheered and played EDM rave songs while dancing and hooting and hollering. What the fuck? Oh my God. Brother, Trump didn't first come for the liberals, okay? Trump came for the immigrants, and you guys were celebrating it because you thought they deserved it because some of their family members were Latino and voted for Donald Trump. Okay? I didn't forget. Anyway, this Naymiller quote is about people being rounded up and killed under Nazi Germany. Comparing that to me not wanting to defend a millionaire streamer is not a serious comparison. Nobody's persecuting Hasan. What do you mean nobody's persecuting Hasan? The government is literally actively trying to investigate and prosecute me. I've been on numerous government documents. What are you talking about? Bro just fucking closes his eyes and plugs his goddamn ears. He's like, nope. You do not get to spend years trashing Democrats and then demand they close ranks around the second it costs you something. He's a 35-year-old man. At some point, that means owning your own choice and instead of expecting the party to attack the sport, bail you out. Are you aware of the NSPM7 of Marco Rubio, Bassett, Trump, and many others in this admin saying that socialists, specifically incoming reps, are a greater threat to America than 9/11, Pearl Harbor, or either World War? If you aren't, you should read Ken Klippenstein. He breaks it down. Actually, I think you ought to be able to advocate and promote policies and ideas that attack the establishment Dem Party and then still expect them to support your freedom to do so when a rogue regime attacks people for their political ideology. Bro, Congress has come after me. The State Department has come after me. The Vice President has come after me. What the fuck what is this guy talking about? You just agree with them because you're basically a fucking Republican. Can you address whatever the fuck this is? Oh yeah, this guy's awesome. I'm not going to dunk on him. He's irrelevant. That guy's dope. He says the Dem Tea Party moment is actually a failure. Why? Because he just doesn't like the people. That's literally it. He doesn't think any of the insurgent candidates that won are actually valid victories that show anything because it was just too easy or something. Yeah. If I were a moderate, I'd probably respond to the DSA's gains with Democratic voters by proposing policies likely to resonate with those voters and solve problems facing the country. The challenge, though, which explains this alternative approach, is that they don't have them. Yep. I think it's worse, though. I just think they don't want to concede to the left and on any issue. And they still think they can just go, nah, it's electability. Yeah, stop calling it the Democratic Tea Party. The anti-incumbent wave is bigger than that and also bipartisan. Yes. Primary defeats of House incumbents during 2010 Tea Party cycle were 4. Primary defeats of House incumbents this year so far is 10. And on top of that, what's even crazier is that the Tea Party movement was entirely astroturfed, right? The Tea Party movement is backed by the Koch brothers. The Tea Party movement was funded by the Koch brothers. It was entirely astroturfed. Whereas this movement is entirely grassroots. It is a remarkable achievement. That's why they're so fucking scared. No matter what they say in the media, they are terrified, okay? The reason why William Lawrence, swagged out white boy, quirked up white boy, who is kind of on my shit list right now for knifing DSA, is a convicted felon. Do you want to know why? Because he got arrested when he was 22 years old, when he locked himself to some construction equipment and refused to leave the job site. Police ultimately cut his bonds, and he was charged with resisting and obstructing police, which is a felony. He took a stand against Enbridge Energy by locking himself to the equipment. Was it righteous? Absolutely, he said in a video on Instagram. Was it wise? Perhaps not. What is this? I swear there's been a recent influx of leftists attacking other leftists for not being left enough, like all over online. I genuinely think something is going on. YouTube has to be pushing videos on how socialism of the DSA is not good enough or is actually fake. It's crazy. Nah, that's normal. That's always existed. Like ultra records have always been around. It's a little bit of a knife fight for the most part because like it's not a psyop always. It can be, but it's not always a psyop. I will say it like this. I think it's a power. It's an attempt to grab more power. A lot of people on the left understand that we have a very small amount of people who have been primed, right? We have a very small number of people who have been radicalized, who have recognized the contradictions, who have developed class consciousness, who understand their position under capitalism and want to do something about it. So leftists, I think, intrinsically understand that reality. So instead of seeking out, the masses and talking to them, they just go after wherever those people are. And DSA and this community as well happens to be the most primed audience. They can't go out and talk to normal people about how they have to be Maoist third worldists and about how the labor aristocracy is actually, by way of unequal exchange, destroying the nations in the periphery and benefiting from it tremendously. Because if you were to go up to a homeless person or, I don't know, a regular gig economy Uber driver and explain them this concept, the Uber driver would probably kill you and himself by ramming the car directly into a wall at 65 miles an hour. So that's the reason why they can't do that. So they have to do it here. They have to come in here and be like, well, you guys are supposed to be knowledgeable on this reality. And how dare you exist in the world with this knowledge, with this shame of living in a fucking developed nation in the first world at the heart of empire and try to make things a little bit better for everyone, including the American working class. When the American working class is a part of the labor aristocracy, you guys should all purchase weapons and immediately kill yourselves instead. That's what they try to do in places like this. And unfortunately, because our ideas are outside of the confines of liberalism, there are a lot of people who find themselves in what I like to call the crank sphere, right? A lot of socialists, instead of moving in the direction of Marxist orthodoxy or trying to become a little bit more pragmatic and be as understanding and charitable to people's starting points and their shameful liberalism. Instead of doing any of that, they actually end up finding themselves in the crank sphere, and they become left-wing Professor Chungists, right? Like there's a lot of that. There is a deep desire to find and unearth hidden truths about the world amongst all of us. And that's what it is. There's also trots, which is a specific tendency that exists to do just this, although there are trots in DSA as well, and they're fine from what I understand. Chirpers think infighting online over earned influence is better than doing the work IRL with leftists with common principles. This pathetic crab in the bucket mentality that would rather try and peel off those who are radicalized on the path than actually reach the masses. Yeah. My argument always has been the same. I'm like, listen, if your ideas are fucking so awesome, if they're bangers, okay, I'm with you, then go out to the fucking regular market, Instead of trying to come in here and tell me I ain't doing shit and I'm actually wasting away the revolutionary potential of the masses, go out there and meet the masses where they are and build this movement, build it larger. Why do you think this is the only place where you can eat off of? I don't even have a problem having a collaborative relationship with people who I will engage with and people who I have comradely disagreements with, right? I don't even have an issue with people like that. What I take issue with is when you go from, yeah, I think this guy is like a decent entry point into socialist thought, to this guy is actually cynically working within the confines of the DNC. He's a CIA agent. He's a liberal Zionist. And then you find yourself literally collaborating with Zionists as well and highlighting their propaganda, because your mission becomes single-handedly to destroy this community, you know, like where you think like I am the number one op to global communism or something. It's very, very stupid. There are a lot of people who believe this, by the way. I know we joke and stuff, but there are literally people who see the unlimited barrage of reactionary propaganda from Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC. And I, honest to God, have seen some of these communists on Twitter. They go, oh, I think this is a psyop. I think they're actually doing a psyop to make me as a communist think Hasan is actually radical and worthy of defense. And I'm like, yeah, dude. Yeah, Rupert Murdoch wanted you and 13 people in your immediate friend group in your fucking Splinter Discord who are Shining Path supporters to actually finally recognize that I'm a revolutionary enough communist to maintain the support of your 13-person reading group. You know, that's what Rupert Murdoch was trying to do. Rupert Murdoch was thinking, he's dialed in to your hammer and sickle reading group. You know, he's like, oh, this is what we're going to do. That I don't understand. No, that's literally, there are a lot of people. Look, we're human beings. Okay. And we have a tendency to believe that the world revolves around us. Right. And therefore, everything that's happening, it's happening to like make me confused. Right. And instead of looking at the barrage of reactionary propaganda that seeks to undermine what I'm doing here, because they actually do see it as a threat to the established forces of power, they look at that and they think, oh no, this is like a 5D chess play from Rupert Murdoch and all these corporations. Rupert Murdoch and all these corporations actually have decided to like present Hasan Piker as a dangerous radical so he can dupe all of us into thinking that he's actually a real one. He actually is a threat to power. No, sometimes the truth is actually far simpler than that. The reason why they're doing it is because they do see me as a threat. That's it. And for many, many years, they didn't see me as a threat, and they didn't do shit. Because for many, many years, I quietly would fundraise for initiatives, Amazon Labor Union and the like. But ultimately, I didn't actually try to change American politics. I didn't actually roll up the sleeves and go on the road and work alongside this robust, much larger movement of, DSA cadre candidates and democratic socialists all around the country, and also aligned individuals to try to go after incumbents within the Democratic Party and unseat them, and also actively push for even a senator who is sympathetic to social democracy. Maybe not democratic socialism, but at least social democracy. That is the problem. And it's extra bad that these weren't even just allies that were democratic socialists, but they were also anti-Zionist. That's why, for years and years, the reason why I was getting unlimited fucking oppo from YouTubers and not the entire media infrastructure, the entirety of corporate media, from Fox News all the way down to ABC and CBS and numerous other outlets, including liberal outlets, was because I just kept to myself. I've never met a person that thinks any of those Rupert Murdoch things where you're encountering these ultra records, and why do they always seem to get conflated with people just prioritize organizing over elections as a primary strategy? People who prioritize organizing as over elections as a primary strategy don't come in here and fucking chirp at me. So I'm not talking about those people. I mean, there was one guy that I responded to. What is that? There's a couple different accounts, and when I point to them, they're going to get harassed. So I don't want to do it. Or when I point to them, you're going to say, these are tiny accounts and they're insignificant. And I'm like, yeah, that's my point. I know they're insignificant in the grand scheme of things, but they still exist. That's why I said they're a 12-person reading group in a Splinter Discord and not a 1,200-person reading group in a Splinter Discord, right?
if they get the opportunity to lead again, they need to do lasting material benefits for people going forward. And frankly, that's what these democratic socialists are proposing. You know, really nothing more radical than we saw from Democrats during the New Deal through the following 30 years when Democrats controlled Congress.
Well, and isn't it funny?
Yeah, no, it's a single party state going forward due to the popularity of these policies. But no one wants to do it.
Because if you say I'm an FDR Democrat or a New Deal Democrat,
just because they see it as a threat doesn't mean it is. Social democracy still reforms capitalism and the Democratic Party's image as well, but I still think you are helpful in radicalizing people, so it's a double-edged sword. Yes, dude, I want to do the welfareism. I want to do the welfare state so I can save capitalism. Or perhaps this is a much more successful method in galvanizing the masses, organizing the masses, and creating the necessary networks of pressure, okay? Bringing back labor militancy, for example, so that we have a structure, a disciplined organizational structure to actually make the necessary changes, okay? Because what you're describing is not happening. The alternative is not happening. This is one of the problems that I have with a lot of MLs, for example, where they look at like siege communism. They look at successful implementations of Marxist-Leninist doctrine, whether it be the USSR, whether it be the Communist Party of China, whether it be, the Communist Party of Cuba. And what they fail to comprehend is the material realities in all of these different societies. Many of them largely agrarian, not industrialized. Many of them under a heinous fascist occupation. And it's not because it's 100 years ago. That's fine. If we had like the equivalence of the peasant class here in the United States of America, you could make the argument at least that like maybe there's a Maoist structure that we could abide by. But we don't. This has never been successful. The closest you can get to socialism in the United States of America is Olof Palme. Okay? That is the closest historical equivalence that you can point to. So we have to envision a different method regardless. We have to envision a different method. Okay? Because that clearly wasn't enough. I'm not saying that is the end all be all. But what I'm trying to say is that is the closest any like developed nation, post-industrialized nation has gotten to maintaining some kind of socialist principle through democratic socialism, developing, the robust social safety nets and things of that nature. Is this what Sam does when he's on vacation?
right, it hits a little different. Depending on where you are in the country, some of these terms scare people more or less. But when you talk about, yes, having an FDR posture towards regulating the banks before they invest in an AI boom that bankrupts everybody, or actually fighting corruption.
People who focus on thought-terminating cliches like social democracy being too moderate don't actually know about Olof Palme. I mean, that's the thing. Like that is the I think of Swedish social democracy as the closest equivalent to what is perceivable, what is permissible in like the in contemporary American society. It's not the final goal, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like that is the most achievable thing in the interim. That's partially the reason why, Sam Cedar here is talking about FDR, New Deal Democrats. I just joined, but they're not mutually exclusive, are they? Like Twitter communists can be useless schizos, but Americans are still treat rights, and us achieving social democracy doesn't do much to unravel global relations in a way necessary to undo the majority's enslavement and now avoid climate collapse. Not that it's futile because of that. I mean, look. In my travels, I've gone to other countries, okay? Noah Colvin will tell you a similar thing from his trips to you know, all these different Latin American countries. The number one thing that labor organizers and very radical politicians, very radical socialists and communists ask is, who can we work with in the United States of America? The reality of the matter is they understand that the United States of America is this great behemoth that is constantly fucking things up. So from their perspective, if there's anyone that they can hold on to, if there's anyone that they can collaborate with, they will take advantage of that. So they are begging for this country to move in the appropriate direction. They are begging for it. They're holding out hope. So yeah, none of those conversations, including in Cuba, revolved around why haven't you stormed the Capitol with weapons and you know, developed a vanguard party and overtook the American government and implemented a one-party communist state yet. None of those conversations happened. Those conversations are entirely the fancy of the internet. People are much more pragmatic and just want relief. So the best we can do is fix our problems here at home while also getting out of the way of others. That's my attitude on this issue. And what a lot of people don't realize is, like, you know what's funny? Here's what's funny. I think the Olof Palme comparison is probably the most apt, right? And the reason why I say that is because how do you think these Nordic countries or even the United States of America achieved the implementation of the New Deal, achieved the first iteration of social democracy here at the domestic level? How did these Nordic countries develop the Nordic system? They didn't do it through liberalism. Liberalism in Europe, and especially in social democracies, is a right-wing position. They achieved it because communists were pushing for it. They achieved it because socialists were pushing for it. And the same goes for the New Deal here in the United States of America. Okay? That's the irony of it all. The things that they developed back then, due to succumbing to the pressure of labor uprisings, mass instability, the labor militancy, trade unionists, anarchists throwing fucking Molotov cocktails at their workplaces and shit, gave us New Deal, gave us the New Deal democracy that we still take advantage of to this day. That's what a lot of liberals don't understand, where they're like, oh, dude, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, you guys are radicals. It's like, yeah, without radicals, you have nothing. Shut the fuck up. Okay? Shut the fuck up. There's never been a world where we've moved in the direction of progress, where we've had any sort of material benefit for the existing working class, where we've ever, like, without radicals, we would not have abolition of slavery. The fuck do you mean? You should be on your hands and knees kissing the feet of the radicals. They're the ones who are pushing the fucking boundaries. They're the ones who are progressing society. You just eat off their benefits and then you fucking hand wave them away. That's part of the reason why I get mad at the ultras that come in here and fucking shit on me instead of doing the goddamn work on their own. I mean, there was a time when liberalism was radical, but that's neither here nor there.
Or actually getting a square meal and a square deal and, all the rest. I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, but the establishment would call FDR a communist today, 100%. But they called him that back in the day as well. Like, they did. Anyway, J.D. Vance also understands the crisis that is imminent, the crisis that the Republicans are facing, because he's got his ear to the ground. So let's hear what he had to say.
And why is socialism sticking with young Americans?
Yeah.
Here's more of those questions and my conversation with Vice President.
Yeah. 1935, Franklin D. Roosevelt, communist art print. Look at that. Riding the donkey, waving the fucking hammer and sickle flag. FDR mocking Republicans, some things never change.
We believe in social security. We believe in work for the unemployed. We believe in saving homes. cross our hearts and hope to die. We believe in all these things, but we do not like the way the present administration is doing them. Just turn them over to us. We will do all of them.
It's so funny because FDR, they called him a communist. They called him a fascist. They also said that he was betraying liberalism, abandoning the principles. And they literally, I mean, they tried to kill him. That's another thing. And this motherfucker brought about a de facto one-party social democracy to this country, okay?
We will do more of them.
FDR loved data centers, Hasan. Yeah, he would have loved data centers.
We will do them better, and most important of all, the doing of them will not cost anybody anything.
This is the clearest FDR clip I've ever seen. The quality of this clip is fantastic. The Democrats need to make this into a political ad now. Who 7 years ago? Who even now? Why don't people bring this up more when being called a communist? I mean, I don't know. I don't think people actually care. It's the same as, dude, it's okay. We bring up MLK being a democratic socialist. We bring up Malcolm X being a communist. They don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They literally don't care. They just do not care. Some people do not care.
All right, really quickly, I want to ask you this. There is obviously, and I think it's beyond comedically, a movement in the United States to embrace socialism. We've seen, for example, a joke of a candidate in Wisconsin still get 300,000 votes, people voting for democratic socialism. But I think the real question, and I think it's a question for you, it's a question for Republicans at large, is this. When a young person looks at their life and they say, you know, I did what America asked me to do. I went to college, I got a job, and I don't think I can afford the life that my parents could afford. Now, whether or not that's statistically accurate, it is a real feeling and a growing feeling. So what is your answer to that young person?
You know, our answer, Will, and this is the exact right question to ask, because our response to socialism, which is a dangerous and destructive ideology, it's been tried in the past and failed, our response to that can't be just to ignore the economic concerns that I think are feeding this rising interest in socialism.
You got Fox News talking about this. I mean, J.D. Vance, I can't believe I'm saying this, but J.D. Vance at least understands that the Republicans are kind of fucked. Like, J.D. Vance understands that, like, this is a warning to the Republican Party from J.D. Vance to be like, you can't get away by saying it's communism to worry about prices, you fucking idiots. I mean, he literally did dunk on Dan Crenshaw for doing that the other day. Dan Crenshaw straight up came out and said, oh, you're complaining about $20 burritos? Well, fuck you. Eat some ramen and shut the fuck up. You know who cares? You know who complains about inflation? Communists. That's who. That's what Dan Crenshaw said. And JD Vance obviously dunked on him and was like, shut the fuck up. This is why you lost your race, whatever. So at least he understands that if the Republicans come out and do old school conservatism, because that's what old school conservatism is. A lot of people came around. Many of you are too young to remember this. But that's what conservatives used to say. Conservatives didn't used to do left populism, right? Fake slopulism. They used to straight up say you're poor because you're morally inferior. To be rich is glorious, and you should recognize your station. A lot of this changed, obviously, in the Reagan era, but there was still plenty of country club conservatism up until George W. Bush, and then Donald Trump basically destroyed it. Now, conservatives don't do the personal responsibility shit as much any longer. Yeah, forget iPhones. This is the level of animosity Fox News has had towards poor people. Definition of poor families, not what it used to be. 99.6% have a refrigerator in poor households. Tom Tiffany calls Crowley a socialist. What? No way. What? What? But Republicans would never do that. Wait, what?
Came
Republicans never call random Democrats socialists. That's so strange. What? Did nobody pay attention to the race that just took place where the moderates defeated the socialists? Perhaps David Crowley should run on how he's not a socialist over and over again. Bro, Harris Faulkner exclusively talks about you.
The Wall Street Journal is reporting that Piker is driving Democrats up a wall.
Harris Faulkner, this guy is toxic. He needs to be deported and his followers can go with him. Infiltrated. Accolades of the epitome of stupidity. America's enemies are now out in the open. Take him off. Ban him like they do the right podcast. What right podcasts have been banned?
That's a quote. Despite that, he has emerged as a key surrogate for several radical left candidates, including Michigan Senate hopeful Abdul El Sayed. Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley says Piker's rise signals doom for the Democrat Party. Well, at least the party as we know it. And focus now.
Oh, the other thing I was going to say is the current Abdul poll. You have to remember something. The current Abdul poll that shows him losing to Mike Rogers. This is right after $70 million of attack ads. Okay. I forgot to mention that. Sorry. Mike Rogers has not received any attack ads yet. Okay. Because the race on his end, there was no competitive primary. There were no attack ads. Abdul, on the other hand, got $70 million of attack ads. So of course his approval rating is going to be underwater for the time being. So he has a lot of work to do in terms of like building that image back up. And it's going to take some work. And also, obviously, he's going to, go to all of the districts that he underperformed in or districts that went to Haley Stevens. And I'm not very concerned about those numbers currently.
Former White House press secretary and Fox News contributor Ari Fleischer. Ari, good to see you today. Look, we know this guy is toxic. He's racist. He's sexist. He's misogynistic and anti-Semitic. We know those things about him. Why is he now a leading surrogate for the Democrats?
Yeah, he's also not articulate enough to speak without swearing. I tried to listen to one of his streams, and
this is such boomer. This is such boomer nonsense. Doesn't a Fox poll skew right? No, the Fox poll doesn't skew right. No, Fox polls are pretty good. They're an A-rated pollster. They have legitimate polls. It just has nothing to do with it being on Fox News.
every other word out of his mouth is a swear because he doesn't have the intellect to make a coherent argument. Look, it's so hard to explain this radicalism.
It's really funny. I like thinking about the fact that Ari Fleischer is in here watching.
His views are so abhorrent to anything and everything American, and you left out of those clips that you showed, because there's just so many, his clips denouncing the United States of America, talking about he hates the United States of America, that he doesn't have an ounce of patriotism in his body, his own language. This is what he says about himself. Yet somehow he's caught fire among the most radical left, which tells you all you need to know about how radical Democrat candidates are this year, that they look up to Hasan Piker as their inspiration. He is nobody's inspiration. He is the poster child of what nobody in America should look up to be.
Yeah, the technique has always been the same, and progressive Democrats, socialist Democrats, know exactly what's going on. If you're wondering or you're confused, if you're one of these like liberals who are entertaining democratic socialism right now, and you're like, I don't really understand why like someone like AOC would ever even defend you, or someone like Bernie Sanders would ever even defend you. It's not necessarily because they understand the value of having an independent media outlet that also is like, galvanizing the masses and activating them to go out and participate in democracy in more meaningful ways. But it's also because they've been there. Okay? They've been there. They've overcome these attacks in the past. When AOC first won, she ate the exact same barrage of smears. Now, of course, because she was also a Democratic politician, there was a little bit more defense from liberal media that she received, but not a tremendous amount, right? But this is the Fox News playbook. They will identify someone and they will boost their disapprovals on the Republican side, and then they will point to that to be like, see, This guy is unbelievably toxic. I'm sure eventually in the midterms, once they're done with this cycle of fuck Hasan commentary, they'll eventually bring out polls to show that, you know, I have like a negative 87 disapproval rating or something. That's going to eventually happen. I'm just getting you guys ready for it. And liberals will then point to that to say Hasan fucking sucks dick. You should stay away from him. He's toxic. And then you'll look at those actual numbers and you'll see that the reason why it's that high, the disapprovals are that high, is because of the unbelievable amounts of anti-Hasan earned media that has taken shape in the last couple of months, virtually every single day, numerous times a day. And it's usually just from the Republican side. The liberal side, on the other hand, will have like a more balanced approach, but there will probably be some disapproval on that end as well, considering that I've been getting a lot of attack ads from a lot of attack earned media from the liberal side as well. So we're out here on an island on our own. We're out here on an island on our own, and they'll point to that to be like, see, this guy's toxic. You should stay away from him. And liberals will use that all the same. Setting aside that there isn't much here, it's kind of gratuitous to drop an oppo file on a candidate who lost, but if you needed more proof that the establishment media hates the left more than the fascists trying to control and shut them down, look no further than this dude. Yeah. Why are you saying earned media? It makes it sound like it's deserved. Earned media is a term. It's a marketing term for like media coverage that you didn't pay for.
All this out about Piker. My one question has to do with Democrats who show up with this guy, even after they know who he really is. Does it help them?
Nothing says this guy's unpopular, like spending every day for the past month freaking out about someone. Yeah, but that's... You guys know how I sometimes talk about the media flex moments? Like they'll bring up poll results and they'll be like, see, only 50% of Americans think Israel is committing a genocide. They're unsure. You know, 50% of Americans are unsure if Israel is committing a genocide or not. That's like, yeah, you did that. Because Israel is committing a genocide. You've just been lying about it. So you're basically just showing your work at that point. Okay? You're showing the results of how much you have lied. So obviously, given that I have no allies in the independent media side for the most part, because the slop tubers have spent years and years tarnishing my name, given that I have no allies in liberal media for the most part, because they too also are backed by the same corporate interests that obviously put the crosshairs on me, and no allies certainly on the Republican side because I oppose them unconditionally, of course this is going to happen. So what we have to do is continue working, build bridges wherever we can. I wish in this time that the more radical elements would not also spend every fucking waking moment attacking me, and the less radical elements in the liberal Democratic side would at least lock in for the midterm season and realize that this is a distraction, and every moment that we're talking about this dumb nonsense is a moment that we're not actually talking about what the Republicans are failing to accomplish. So that's it. But you have allies on the left? Yes. Kyle Kalinske, Zateo, Dropsite. Most of the independent political media is the, you know, our bread and butter. That's it. And maybe Midas Touch and Pod Save America as well. Yeah. But Majority Report, yes. Those are the forces we have. But it's also important for us in this community to, you know, put our best foot forward and to make sure that we're also bridging relationships, right? Like, for example, if I were to follow along with the attitude of this community, I would be like, oh, Pramila Jayapal, she supported Diana DeGette. But I didn't do that, right? And I told you at the time why Pramila Jayapal had done that, because she's a part of CPC. She was the head of the Congressional Progressive Caucus in the past. And I understand the importance of like working with politicians. I understand the importance of working with people like Pramila Jayapal, for example, who has still been like further, much more progressive. She's literally gone to Cuba, for example, right? You have to look at the broader goals here. And Pramila Jayapal, as a member of the Judiciary Committee, has gone out to bat and has defended me and is trying to get the University of Washington student groups to re-invite me to speak on campus. She's the only Washington state rep that doesn't take AIPAC money. I'm from Washington. Yes. No, she's great. That's why When you guys were attacking her and you were like, we're going to unseat Pramila Jayapal, I was like, no, we're not. The fuck are you talking about? She's dope. There are not a lot of politicians out there, even on the Democratic Party side, that will do stuff like this. So once again, it's important to, and no one would have come even remotely close to defeating her. Yeah, exactly. She's also beloved in her district. She has that seat locked for good reason. She has good constituent services. She's very progressive. She's the most progressive Washington politician, and she's one of the most progressive. She's one of the most progressive politicians in Congress anyway. Like, she's up there, right? So we also should probably work to build bridges with other people. We should also work to build bridges and mend bridges with other folks. Folks on our left flank, folks on our right flank in the Democratic Party, because the time requires it. Okay? That's it. So you guys, don't be toxic. Please. Yeah, Oliver Larkin, Elijah Manley, and Angie Nixon's rally in Florida has been canceled by the venue after pressure from Democrat Rep. Michael Gottlieb and Trump advisor Laura Loomer. The venue has broken contract over Gen Z for changes refusal to uninvite Rashida Tlaib. Unfortunately, they should not have revealed that Rashida Tlaib was coming ahead of time. I know from personal experience. You are not supposed to tell the venue that you're doing a political event. Rookie mistake. She's a congressman. She's a congresswoman. You think these motherfuckers care? Scott Hannity says it's fun to watch you melt down. The clip he showed doesn't show any of that. His 3 million plus show has become pure Hasan slop.
Spiritual leader of the Democratic Socialist Movement, kind of having a meltdown now, which is fun to watch. Take a look.
The media will do everything in its power to try to discourage you. They will tell you you're a loser. They'll say, oh, DSA, your candidate was oh, Francesca Hong was bad. She was a bad candidate. Oh, she didn't like Thanksgiving. Them. And Thanksgiving too.
I don't know. Maybe you should have a...
Wait, what is the meltdown? I'm literally joking. I can't tell if I'm too autistic and I'm not conveying emotions well enough, or if like my haters magically get hit with the autism ray and they can't comprehend emotions at all.
Drink or something. Calm down. Anyway, at least he didn't say that America deserved 9/11 again, or the streets will run red with blood of landlords. And he must be pretty happy about the Democratic Senate primary in Minnesota. There's a win for him, where an extremist named Peggy Flanagan.
An extremist. They just announced a new venue, the Maylon Curo situation. Moskowitz having the other conservative Dems attack for him. Dude, stop announcing a new venue. Stop putting the venue on the fucking flyer, guys. Oh my God, I'm going to text Oliver. Only country. I guess it's not the only country, but it is kind of wild that in this country, we literally punish people for having the correct opinion. And it's like, across the board, CNN will also do it as well, where CNN will literally yell at you for having the correct position. God, what a world we live in, man. It is wild. It is wild. It is so crazy. They will never let you live it down. If you have the correct position, the correct moral position on something, if you just want like better things to be possible for everyone, every cynical person in corporate media will be like, you should kill yourself. Kill yourself now. Do not kill yourself yesterday. Kill yourself. Do not kill yourself tomorrow. Kill yourself today, right now. How dare you? How dare you think better things are possible? You're fucking woke. You're woke. And wokeness is unacceptable. You should kill yourself now.
It's radical, extreme, and unethical. And we have experienced that on this program, trying to get answers from DSA supporters. They don't want to answer the question. Oh, how much of every dollar should a taxpayer get to keep? If they make $100,000 a year, well, that's a hard question. No, it's not. It's a simple one. Now, her fellow Democrat in Michigan, the unlicensed medical doctor, apparently Abdul Sayed, is not worried about ethics. He wants you, the U.S. taxpayer, to pick up the bill for every gender reassignment surgery in America, including kids. Take a look.
Healthcare should be a choice made by a patient and their doctor.
Stop! No! No! What? Are y'all hearing this? Are y'all hearing this shit? Are y'all hearing this shit? What a fucking commie this guy is. How dare he say healthcare is a decision that should be left up to the doctor and the patient? No, it should be left up to me, a guy who doesn't believe in healthcare or science or medicine. It should be my decision, not the patient or the doctor. After all, doctors are woke and gay. Why do I know this? Because they are literate. Everybody knows to be able to read and write means you are a homosexual Marxist. Doctors are DEI.
That patient is under the age of 18, the parents as well, right? And I believe that Medicare for all should cover all healthcare.
Yeah.
Which is defined by what a patient needs in accordance with their doctor. So that includes reproductive rights, right? That includes gender-affirming care.
Now, that alone is disqualifying. Top hospitals, including the Cleveland Clinic, are banning so-called gender-affirming care for children and committing millions of dollars to kids who are harmed. Now, of course, in El Sayed's case and his communist fantasies, the government would totally control all health care, and that's not all. He has also called for the federal government to seize the means of production over certain American tech companies. Take a look at this.
Are you in favor of public ownership models like the one Bernie introduced?
So I want to actually take it a step further.
Okay.
I agree that we need public ownership, but I also agree that we need some system of public control.
Yeah.
Like, what is the point of democracy if it's not to protect us from existential risk?
All right, you can see why Mao worshiper Hasan Piker gets along so well with El Sayed. They both seem...
Are you aware of a documentary about Tim Walz called Minnesota Mao?
Tim Walz. Governor Tim Walz.
Minnesota Mao?
Tim Walz.
Governor Tim Walz of the great state of Minnesota.
I lived in China. I've been there about 30 times.
Tim was snapping up dozens of copies of Mao's Little Red Book. It's not just a political treatise. It's the daily devotional of the Chinese Communist Party. The inscription on the inside is, Mao's words bring us joy.
She's bringing us a politics of joy.
They're trying to steal the...
Yo! They're right. As America's most prominent Maoist, okay, I'm here to tell you, you got him. You got this guy, okay? You know who would also execute a nuclear first strike on Iran if Iran ever threatened Israel? Mao Zedong would. That's right.
The joy from this country.
Bro, they literally said joy equals communism. Like, they did the thing. They did the thing unironically. Mao Zedong used the term joy. You know who else used the term joy? Tim Walz.
Bring back the joy.
You said earlier that ICE agents were a modern-day Gestapo. Would you like to recant that statement?
When I said President Trump was using them as his modern-day Gestapo. Donald Trump's modern-day Gestapo is scooping folks up off the streets. Many of us grew up reading that story of Anne Frank. Somebody's going to write that children's story about Minnesota.
For communism to work, you have to erase the country's identity and history, and that's what Mao did.
Dude, I wish that Democrats were like maybe 10% as radical as Republicans present them. You know what I mean? Like, they're talking about like Tim Walz saying, you know, this is Donald Trump's Gestapo is correct. But like what Tim Walz did when ICE was literally fucking storming the streets of Minneapolis was nowhere near what was necessary.
Tim Walz is doing it here.
Governor Tim Walz signed an executive order providing legal protection to those who come to Minnesota for gender-affirming health care.
Our children tell us who they are.
You live through every parent's worst nightmare.
Some of the loudest voices are advocating for blame and hatred and even violence toward those who don't agree.
You can shit out of him now. Don't ever shy away from our progressive values.
Jerusalem Post, the man behind the curtain, how Hasan Piker became a political kingmaker opinion. It's hard to comprehend how Piker remains such a popular figure given his preference for a barbaric terror group over the democratic country of Israel. How? What is going on in America? They made the guy who said he prefers Hamas over the democratic nation of Israel the kingmaker. Oh. It turns out that the great and this person whose name is Cookie Schwaber Isan. It turns out the great and mighty Oz, better known as the man who pulls the strings behind the curtain, is a 35-year-old American-born son of Turkish parents, no less contentious than his well-known left-wing political activist uncle Cenk Kadir Uygur. I forgot that was my uncle's middle name. Holy shit. Co-host and the host of the controversial, creator of the controversial program, The Young Turks, Hasan Piker has risen to fame as a political power broker, demanding strict allegiance to the main tenets of the Democratic Socialist Party. The all-powerful internet superstar who has gotten up to 1 billion views for his content will not bestow his coveted blessing upon any potential candidate unless they pass his scrutiny. Those include their commitment to open borders, universal health care, no foreign wars. Wait. Why is that bad? Like, these aren't... Dude, you're in Israel. You have universal health care. What the fuck? This is the Jerusalem Post. These motherfuckers have universal health care, bro. I can't believe it. He's like, are y'all hearing this? He wants universal health care, a thing that we have. Oh, this is another article from the same author. Could the Palestinian Authority be planning a Jewish genocide in the West Bank? Oh, so they're just schizophrenic. Come on, man. Come on. Aligning with most important, possibly most important, aligning with the Free Palestine movement. What is this? It's real? President hidden by tacos and Diet Cola. Trump's hiding place. They did the Saddam hit. Despite his insistence that he's not anti-Semitic, Piker, who happens to be a Muslim, oh, wow. Wow. Okay, Jerusalem Post. Is known as a vocal proponent of Palestinian rights, frequently using a streaming platform and the media appearances to advocate for a free Palestine, criticizes Israeli government policies, and support pro-Palestinian political figures. Among his more incendiary comments, 3 stand out the most. The first thing is that America deserved 9/11 because U.S. foreign policy had made the event like 9/11 possible. The second is that Hamas is 1,000 times better than Israel, stating that if rapes happened on October 7th, that wouldn't change his opinion. The third is calling for the killing of American landlords, saying let the streets soak red in their capitalist blood. For his 9/11 comment, Piker was temporarily suspended from Twitch, the popular live stream broadcasting platform owned by Amazon, and had his travel permit revoked, making it impossible for him to enter the UK. It's hard to comprehend how Piker remains such a popular figure. I wonder why. Yeah, I should have said, let the streets of Gaza soak, right? And then you'd be fine with that. Anyway, it is kind of, I cannot stress this enough. Like, I'm sorry. I don't care what Jerusalem Post has to say. Like, this is a pro-genocide outlet, okay? Like, it's so ridiculous for a pro-genocide outlet that has had op-eds that talk about Lebensraum, living room, in Lebanon. Okay? Like, there are numerous outlets that there are numerous op-eds that this outlet has written demanding more living room in Lebanon. You have no credibility. Like, you can't. I am always going to be above the Jerusalem Post morally by the very nature of my anti-genocide stance and their pro-genocide stance. It just doesn't, there's nothing. Yeah, they've written articles about like actual dead Palestinian children, calling them dolls, like fake dolls, and saying it's Pallywood. Like, it's one of the most depraved outlets on the planet currently. This is their Sturmer, but, you know, Israeli. Straight up. Anyway, by emphasizing with their inability to purchase homes and access to other benefits their parents and grandparents had, Piker discovered a real dearth in the male market, creating a space for them to address their gripes and make them feel heard. The average Piker fan is said to be young adult males between the ages of 18 and 29, heavily active online and leading politically progressive, leftist or socialist. Core audience consists largely of Gen Z and younger millennial men interested in anti-establishment politics, media commentary, and internet culture. When you combine those particular listeners who lament their station in life and couple it with the politics of democratic socialism, you get a healthy dose of radicals who are easy prey for the notion that anarchy and burning down the status quo is the best solution. I am not an anarchist. It's that ever-growing niche market which has catapulted Piker to the top, turning him into a sort of socialist pope whose ring must be kissed by aspiring political figures. Once they get his approval, they're sitting pretty. Okay, so this is just glaze. Cedin deden Nesrin baban.